Okay, I never decided to take up meteorology as part of this. No way. I am no meteorologist, but I do like to read every once in a while. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More with Jan channel. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. Are you enjoying your hot cup of coffee right now, or tea, or cocoa? Or sometimes people don't like hot drinks in the morning. They rather just drink some water, a nice cold water, whatever it is that you like. I hope you're enjoying it right now or later on in the day or taking a break. Guess what? Does it come as a surprise that before you know it, okay, we're going into the deepest throes of the early part of the late fall, beginnings of that, which I love. I love, 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 love this season. I love the BER months. You know that by now. They are absolutely my favorite. I'm just saying. But what follows the fall? Winter. Dun, dun, dun. And winter season coming up is like a pair of bookends. Frugal choices we need to do, act now. Now, of course, I had to cut that down a few words to fill out to fit in the space in the title box. But winter season coming up like a pair of bookends. What does that mean, Jan? Well, according to a few sources, which seem to be in agreement with this. According to a few sources, we are going to have a very interesting, let me get my information, interesting weather pattern coming up here in the United States. All right. And we're going to have above average snowfall. And someone else who follows the weather that I personally know, that person also heard going to have a few ice storms. Oh, boy, doesn't that sound like a lot of fun? Yeah, sure. Ice storms? Not really. Okay. All right. So above average snowfall in several northern regions of the United States, including the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Northern Rockies, and other parts of the Northeast, going to experience what they consider a bookend kind of a winter storm wise. What does that mean? So we're going to see the heaviest snowfall type of activity in the beginning part of the season of the winter. And then it gets a little leveling off in the middle of the winter. And then you're going to have what? It's a bookend, right? So it's going to resurge. It's going to resurge again. The heavy precipitation, snowfall, all the fun stuff, all the stuff that we just love so much. Now, in the beginning, it is cute. And that little kid in all of us likes to jump out and play, maybe throw a snowball or two at each other. But then the reality of it all sets in. Preparing for it, preparing your car for it, preparing your front uh, of your house for it and the backyard and whatever mess you're cleaning up, especially the tops of the car, is always so, so fun, right? Excuse me. Snow could be fun, but then as time goes on, it just loses its little bit of fun flair. Am I right? Or am I right? Why am I talking so much about the weather? The weather has a direct influence on our habits. Are you prepared? Is your house prepared? Are you prepared for whatever the reason? It doesn't have to be snow. It could be another reason. Are you prepared for possible power outages? Are you prepared? Yeah, to have readily available things to eat in case the power outage extends itself a little bit longer than you'd like it to. See, now's the time to act. Here's the problem: people wait. Again, we spoke about procrastination at a pretty good length last Wednesday, and I decided to remind us all, and especially checking into for the fourth time. I went to four different weather sources, and they all confirmed the same thing about heavier activity snow wise, especially in the northeastern part of the country. So even though I'm like focusing on the names of the places and locations that I mentioned earlier, that doesn't mean the rest of the country should just sit back on your laurels. Look into your local area and find out what kind of a winter is coming up for me. And I mean, just doesn't have to be even the winter time. You know, if you're having experiencing, warmer climates, whatever it is, the climate actually affects our habits. Let's think about that. For example, well, I'm a diehard coffee drinker, so I drink coffee all year, but not everybody's like me. For example, let's think about this for a minute. On a very hot day, most people don't feel like having a hot cup of coffee when they wake up. Most people would rather grab either a cold ice cube type cold coffee, or they don't have it at all. Excuse me, please. And they just opt for cold water, or a smoothie or something. That's weather related. That's a habit that's weather related. Do you necessarily feel like eating a very heavy meal in the middle of July? Most people do not. Most people don't. They rather have perhaps a light salad, a cold bowl of cereal. I've done cold bowls of cereals in the summer a number of times. It's easy, it's fast, it's cheap, and I like it. The cleanup is minimal, and please excuse my allergies. Now, knowing ahead of time, just like we all know, okay, winter is coming, right? That means we should check our inventory over, our stockpile inventory, get things you could get. Now, I believe in the buddy system of when you're buying in bulk. Buying in bulk is good sometimes, not always. Sometimes it comes out more money. Sometimes you're saving money. Sometimes not necessarily. But you have the items available. Okay. So, and it depends on what you're purchasing and depends on your family. Don't buy 25 pounds of rice if your family doesn't even eat rice. I don't know why people do it, but they do it to make their, I don't know, their long-term pantry look cute. It's not about being cute. It's about having the right things available in your pantry. So don't waste your money in that area. However, if your family enjoys pasta more than rice, that's what you get. You don't have to be politically correct about your own stockpile. I'm just saying. I mean, this is not a show. This is your family. You see where I'm going with that? You have to get what you have to get and what you actually use. But the thing is, get it. Excuse me. We know ahead of time. I know for a fact because I checked 4 different sources in terms of the weather, and it's all confirming the same thing, that they are anticipating a possibility of tons of snow. Now, some people might think, but Jen, you live in the city, right? You live in the city. Why do you care about the snow? Well, this city, like any other big city, depends on what? Deliveries. So if they can't get into the city and bring the stuff in, then it's going to be a problem with a supply and demand problem. And guess what happens? A couple of things. Prices go through the roof, as if we need extra prices going through the roof. That's its own show. or unavailability, and then things of that nature. While things are relatively quiet, and I always say this, why can't we take a minute while things are nice and quiet and do a little, squirreling away? I always say this: if squirrels, a small little animal, cute as a button as they could be, the little side eye that they give you with that little face, those 2 little hands, I call them hands. The, their front legs or whatever you want to call them, and you see those little fingernails. Oh, so cute. But they're smart. They've been working for weeks and weeks and weeks putting their stuff away for the winter. Hello. If a squirrel can do that, why can't we? Why is it so hard? Oh, Jan, I can't afford all that money. But you see, this is where buying things in small increments. This is the one of the many values that I have learned from learning more about how the folks survived back in the Depression era. Oh, there she goes again with the Depression era. Yeah, you're going to probably hear a lot of that from me in the next few months. I don't care, because the stuff that I take away from that is very valuable. They didn't really have too many predecessors that reminded them or tapped them on the shoulder, or, think about this. They were resourceful. They needed to survive. So let's say when payday came in, they made quick decisions to where their money was going. And you know what I learned from some of the sources that I've been checking out? Most of the biggest payday distribution ideas occurred, guess when? Within the first hour of their paycheck hitting their hand. Maybe some people literally got paid in cash. Remember, we're talking 100 years ago. And by the way, I should do a show about how we learned about the roaring 20s 100 years ago? We're in the 20s now. We're in 2025 going into 2026. And the way things are going, who the heck knows if we're going to see another uh, 1929, updated version, Crash 2.0. God forbid. I'm just saying. But I see a lot of signs that could make you think, between the weather, the crazy signs that I'm seeing. Tell me something. Where is it a bad idea to err on the side of caution? So let's say that you did overtly purchase a few things in your stockpile, right? Let's just say that. So what? That means you don't have to buy it the next few times. You're not going to be a loser. I'd rather know that I overtly purchased a little bit of something than didn't have it. Does that make sense to you? So let's get back to cost cutting, the buddy system. Before I forget, I think I was touching upon it and then I went off on a tangent. Sorry about that. I digress. All right, let's talk about the buddy system. You get a friend. Let's say that you live alone, but you still want to get some wholesale prices on things. And let's say you have a friend that also lives alone, all right? And that person happens to belong to a big box store type thing, okay? The two of you can make an arrangement to get together. You both like the same thing, study the sales, buy those cases of things, chip in half each, and split the cost of what you're buying. That saves both of you a ton of money and you get to see your friend. Does that make sense? Guess what? This is not a new idea. This is an old idea, and I didn't make this idea up. This is one of the things the folks back in the day during the Depression era used to do. They would get close to their members in their community, didn't have to just be just one person. Let's say 5 or 6 folks. Usually it was women that would get together and talk about what kind of flour are they going to get, for example. And they buy tons and tons of flour, chip in a little bit of money each, buy a ton of it each, and then divide it up and save so much money because they needed the flour to bake the bread, to make the meal, to keep them alive, existing, sustaining. I mean, these people were on survival mode, okay? Now, when you go to the grocery store today, sometimes it feels when you're going in that grocery store, the prices of today in certain places more maybe than in other places, you feel like you're on like a survival mode here. And it's coming to fruition that because of the certain prices of certain foods, that there's a reason why people are turning more to those prepared foods because it's if they find it cheaper to do it that way, all done up, instead of I'm going to buy a can of beans and then I'm going to buy a pack of rice and some people in their mind's eye that's all that they could afford at the moment because of the high cost of living. I could go on and on and on about that, and I will do further videos about that in the future. But here's the thing. The whole point of today's video is this. We have the information. Okay, I know what's going to probably happen in the Northeast, right? So I'm going to make it a point to have things ready. I do concern myself with supply and demand as a person. Anybody that lives in any sort of metropolis has to concern themselves with if they're relying on deliveries. By the way, for us here in the city, going to a farmer's market, in most places, in other sections of the world, it's a cheaper thing to do. Not in this city. They rip you off in the city, and anybody living here will agree with me. I'm just saying. All right, everybody, just look at your local weather upcoming forecast for the next few weeks, couple of months. It just might save you some money, not to mention convenience and safety. I don't like people on icy roads or snowy roads. Have your stuff available and stay home and stay nice and cozy if you could. All right, everybody, take good care of yourself and everybody else too. Don't forget super thanks are always appreciated. Thank you.